quickly. I thought I did a pretty good job about getting us through the efficiency part last month. Hello, hello. Oh, Bill looks all tan.
Yeah.
I was noticing those desks in here, those new style desks, and Kansas Wesleyan has them in their lecture halls. I don't know why I was at Kansas Wesleyan, but I was up there at a something. Yes.
I'll prompt it. I just may have other amendments.
He's running a little bit late though. You want me to turn Shelby's on just to turn it on, or?
Folks, let's go ahead and we're already a little past 4:30, so let's Shelby can join us when he gets here. Okay. We will call our meeting to order. This is the Butler Community College Board of Trustees, our regular meeting, and today is Tuesday, June 10th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one one planned agenda amendment, which is to add the topic for action regarding the fiber optics boot camp. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I move that we add the fiber optic boot camp to 9 board action, letter I.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Good?
Yeah.
Trustee Brungard is absent. Trustee Jolly?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Hueslig?
Yes.
Trustee Shearer?
Yes.
Trustee Smith is also absent.
Thanks all. That passes 5-0. Unless anyone has any other changes, would entertain a motion to amend the agenda as it's been amended.
So
To
move
approve
it.
the agenda.
Approve it. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented,
And I'll second that.
As amended.
as
That's-
amended.
Yes.
And I'll second.
Trustee Good?
Yes.
Trustee Brungard is absent. Trustee Jolly?
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes?
Yes.
Trustee Hueslig?
Yes.
Trustee Shearer?
Yes. And
Trustee
Trustee Smith is.
Bidding blind. as they
Strict
say.
language at raise taxes.
Yeah. All right, late. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on then to recognitions. Dr. Vietti, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, well, as you can see, we have 2 pages worth of recognitions, all associated with the celebratory events at the end of the year. Because of the volume, we're not going to hand out certificates individually, but we wanted to draw your attention first to the commencement planning team, an army of people who made commencement go off without a hitch.
They were wonderful. Very
Yeah,
good.
it was. So kudos to all involved. And then if you turn the page, you can see we wanted to recognize the honors and awards ceremony planning team. Great event. And then the nurses planning team, nurses pinning planning team, the early college academy celebration planning team, the Redler Institute of Culinary Arts Toque ceremony planning team, the adult basic ed student success celebration planning team, and last but not least, the Butler retiree brunch planning team. So let's all give them a round of applause and thanks.
Yes.
I would just mention that I think this was the quickest commencement that we've had. Not that it was unnecessarily fast. It's just it's a well-oiled machine to get that many people through orderly with photos taken and
Down focus.
everything going off without a hitch. So that's a fantastic job for all the people involved. And reflects well, I think, on the college for any of the family and everybody else that's attending. Attaboy, attagirl.
I think it's because Mary talks less.
And I wouldn't replace you. I could just,
Moving on. Any public comment? Do we have anybody signed up? Okay, seeing no one that is so interested, we'll move on then to the standing reports. Do we have a student government report?
No, we do
Summary?
not.
Nope. Okay, I saw Zach here, so op staff.
Okay, good evening. So op staff will be having our annual recharge at Eberly Farms on Friday. So I know we have exceeded our numbers that we first initially thought we were going to have. So it's going to be a great turnout. So excited for all of them on Friday. Other than that, this is my last op staff update as president. And so Carrie Smith will be taking over as president starting next month. So you guys will be in great hands with her. So thank you.
Zach, how many employees come to those
Top staff or like the recharge or the meetings?
recharge?
Recharge, we have about around 40 to 50 usually end up coming. What do we have? About 140 total op staff? 120? Okay. So we have about 50
Uh-huh.
that attend. It's always a really good event. Yep.
Thank you. Professional employees, I don't see.
No,
do we
no,
have- no, nothing.
she's
Okay.
not here.
That's the summertime. Foundation board report. Or sorry, board finance committee. I always want to skip that one. Linda or Dave, anything to share?
You can do it.
Okay, we just went through any differences in revenues, expenses. No real difference in revenues at all, year over year. And three mentions otherwise under expenses on instruction was higher in 2024 because in May of 2024, we paid retro pay after the contract was renewed. And then under the fiscal plan operations, part of that includes a 2025 stadium HVAC cost. A portion of that may end up being reimbursed. And then the last thing we're still watching for is in June, the adjustment of the transfers that we've been talking about. So nothing else really out of line year over year.
Thank you. For the foundation board, the board meeting met last month. Kind of an update on portfolio performance. The Bank of America U.S. Trust provided information on that front. The fair market value of the foundation's endowment as of March 31st of this year was a little over $17 million versus an end of fiscal year last year, which was June 30, of a little over 16 million. So not quite a $1 million increase in value, 850,000 actually. They projected that strong fourth quarter profit growth was expected to carry over into this year, despite all the concerns that the tariffs played with the market. Operating budget for 25-26 was approved. And also gave final numbers on the benefit auction, raised $235,000, which was above the goal, but about average compared to what we've done in previous years. So still a great event, and look forward to the first Friday in March of next year when we get to do it again.
Yep, and we have our chairs already selected, but can't announce yet. And the chairs will be consulted on the theme, so more to go.
And I've selected my game for the Kansas City Chiefs that my niece is going to.
Last kid, I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
Dr. Vitti.
I have just a few items. The first is a reminder that Butler is hosting a Kansas Regional Learning Day sponsored by the National Council on Associate Degrees. We have been told that we have the highest number of registered participants of the 3 learning days across the state. So board, if you can attend, we encourage you to do so. It will be in Andover in the Kansas room. And the following morning, Holly Smith with NCAD will be staying over and working with student services and academics regarding tools that we can use to streamline processes for apprentices who wish to enroll through Butler. So it will be a great day, we think, and it will be Dr. Daniel's first day on the job, so she will be there too. I know. Just an update at the federal level, we are keeping a watchful eye on the reconciliation bill that has come out of the House. We are quite concerned about Pell Grants and what changes, if any, may be made to them. One change that is in the what's in the House bill was to raise the eligibility requirement for full-time students from 12 hours to 15. That, while of concern to us, is not of as much concern as raising the part-time requirement from 6 hours to 7.5. Because what that translates into is that means our students in all probability to be eligible would have to pick up one more course when they're already working and juggling many, many balls. Senator Roger Marshall has gone to bat for us. He is an alumnus of Butler. And we've been told that Butler may be contacted by the Washington Post just because we're one of the colleges in Kansas that will be so affected. 80% on average of the students in community colleges in Kansas are part-time. So you can imagine the negative impact on that. We have submitted our budget request through KACC to the Board of Regents. We are advocating for flat funding for tiered and non-tiered courses. We understand there will be a decrease in funding for Excel and CTE courses offered to the high schools because there is some question about paying for students who take a course once, don't do well, then take it again. And somehow legislators don't think that should be paid for. So we will see how that shakes out. But the good news, if it stays the course, is we are recommending full funding for student success and for the apprenticeship program. And I'll save the rest for Mary Martha, who attended the KACC event in Atchison. But before I move on, 2 more quick things. So you are scheduled for a work session on June 23rd. We have no new budget information to bring forward. In communicating with Dr. Daniel, we concluded it would be best for the board to decide if you want a work session And if so, what you would like the topic to be, or if you would prefer not to have a June work session. So I would open that up for discussion.
I would prefer not to have one.
I won't be here, so I will defer to those that will be here to decide whether they would like to have that or not.
I would like to have one, just to, even if there was no agenda, just to talk ideas about the college.
From our first day.
Yeah, she's on payroll.
That day is the NCAD.
And that's over in Andover.
Right.
Well, yeah. And she's gonna be there too.
Yeah, I'm fine not doing it. I'm just saying. what-
Well, I just think we're putting a lot on her for her first day. I don't want her to walk out.
You want her to come back the next
Kim
day.
Tucker likes to not show up. That's okay.
Dr. Vietti, when did you leave?
My last day, official day is June 30th. No, let me say that differently. My last official day would be June 22nd at 12 a.m. But I am staying a week. My contract goes through June 30th intentionally to
Thank
have some
you.
overlap with Dr. Daniel.
Thank you.
That was a long-winded answer, but
It was good though.
would you like to know the hours? Then days left?
Do you have them down?
But, so board direction, work session or no on the 23rd?
I would prefer to not have it if we don't meet.
No,
I'm intuiting
That's
consensus.
four nays, so let's go.
Okay,
Right.
there will not be a work session, but come to the event in Andover and greet Dr. Daniel on her first day.
I did have one comment on the Pell Grant issue. It could be a silver lining if people do increase their number of hours. It could benefit overall. Like when I gotta take one more class. I know it's a load for the, but it could possibly be a benefit, even though it's.
I see it as a negative just because I don't think you can find a class that will just give you an hour and a half credit.
They take two, that's even better. I know, I'm just saying.
Looking out for the student.
Well, we will see how it shakes out,
Yeah.
but we are advocating diligently to keep the part-time threshold at 6 hours.
On the meeting on the 23rd, do we typically notice that if you suspect there's going to be a quorum of trustees
What
there
a great thought.
by
um,
one of the day?
Well, that will confer with Ray Canal. If you are not there to conduct business, that may make a difference, but we will surely follow up on that. Thank you. Okay, one last thing on my report, and that's to thank all of you for the opportunity to come home to Butler. I've enjoyed nearly all of it. And have absolutely loved reconnecting with the people who make Butler what it is, faculty, staff, and students. So thank you very much.
Thank you for.
Thank you for accepting.
the offer.
Okay, I'm done.
I don't think we could have found a better interim. So
In fact, I think
appreciate
we
it.
should-
You came back.
Extend her contract probably just a few more months. Make sure that doctors, fully aware of what goes on.
Yeah, no. But thank you.
So I will move us on to the educational facilities report. We did not meet last month, but we are meeting tomorrow morning. So Dave or I will have a report at the July meeting to talk about the educational facilities.
Well, I did not realize that you were meeting tomorrow
I
morning and
didn't realize that until yesterday.
Well, I realized it last week, but they're meeting down at the city building at
It was
8
supposed to
o'clock.
be in May and there wasn't a quorum, so they canceled the May meeting, but I didn't realize that they just pushed it.
And the only thing that's on the docket of any significance was the presentation of the rule, all of the consolidation of what is it called, Ireland? The consolidation of the policies.
I maybe can shed a little light on that. The administrators have been working on a draft policy and procedures manual because there were so many separate stapled papers that we made an effort to put it all in one book with appendices.
And I think it's good because when people attend, whether they're attending a high school function or whether it be a city function or whether it be a college function, that we have one set of policies, whether it's a smoking, non-smoking, all of those different little policies, they're all consolidated so that people know what they are and that every group follows the same policy.
Does
Um,
it also list who's responsible for what maintenance? And we're gonna go halfway and all, okay.
we are on our second iteration of this. We met in April. We've got an updated draft as a result of the meeting in April. So it is still a work in progress, but it's much more efficient and clear to every end user than it was to shuffle sheets and figure out what. So it's not done yet.
Right, and I will clarify that it says policy manual consolidation and lease agreement updates. So,
The other thing that the administrators have met about is we have counted at least 3 lease agreements. There's a separate one for the school district in the facility and one for the college in the facility and one for the USD 490. We want to we recommend consolidating those all into one lease agreement. So every entity has the same wording and the same lease agreement.
Are there material differences in the terms of the leases that the different?
No, there are not. But I did not know about this meeting and I am out of town tomorrow, so I apologize for being in absentia.
I don't think it was announced until they reached out to see if there was a quorum.
Right.
It was the first time I knew
Right.
that it was even on calendar, was when there was a question of if I'd be there.
right.
Okay, well, I don't think I'm on that email list, sir.
No, if you didn't know about it. Would you like us to ask Emerald to add you to it?
Well, I would like you to ask Emerald to add Dr. Daniel to it.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good point. Okay, Mary Martha.
Okay, I gave everyone a synopsis of what we did in Atchison. It was a great day. We got to tour the Highland Technical Campus. We talked a lot about KU. We had a program there. I can email you the presentation. It's, what is it? 80 pages long. It's pretty big. I thought it was really good, though, that the Kansas Department of Revenue Property Valuation Division about property tax in Kansas trends and property tax facts, I think was an excellent presentation. I thought about you the whole time, Shelby. It really,
Blood pressure is going up just when it's happening.
that's when the appendix hit you.
Got me like.
But I'd like to share that with you at some time. At the dinner, we recognized Senator Pat Petty for being an outstanding college legislative champion. She's been in the Senate and been in the House and been governor or been mayor. She's been everything in Kansas, and she's a wonderful lady and loves community colleges. You can see what else there is around. I'm not going to read to you. The next meeting is in our city at Cali College. Any questions?
If you send that to me, I'd read it. Said presentation attached. Is the tax part of it in the presentation?
I just remembered that I think there was 130 pages. Do you want that many?
If it had that part in there, I'd
Okay.
scan it.
We can send just that PowerPoint if you like, and that
Thank
might be
you.
more manageable. So Jennifer, do you mind making a note of that,
Which
please?
one, which part are we referring to?
On the
The property tax?
Uh-huh.
property
Yeah,
tax,
I'd-
I wouldn't
I'd
mind that one
I'd
either,
like to see
Jennifer.
that as well.
We will send it to all of the board.
Okay. Thank you, Mary Martha.
You bet.
Moving into monitoring report. Dr. Speary, your last meeting and you have tasks. Absolutely.
So thank you. This is my last monitoring report, and it's also the last monitoring report for the ASE division. So I thought it might be helpful for you to know how, and you saw in the report, but I thought I would walk you through how the different departments and services of ASE are to be being dispersed. So adult ed is going under Dr. Rinkenbaugh, and so it will be in the division of online high school and community learning. Assessment is going to be overseen by Kim Jackson, and she's taking also over the supervision of curriculum committee activities. But assessment will also be overseen by Dr. Craig. Avid, which has been a really powerful source for faculty development for Butler the last 13 years, is going away nationally at the post-secondary level. So, but one thing that's good about that in terms of our ongoing faculty development is the two major figures in post-secondary Avid training are going into private practice. So they're still going to be available nationally to help with our faculty development efforts. HLC accreditation, Dr. Dunleavy is going to be the new accreditation liaison officer, so he'll take over that duty. Honors and PTK is going to go directly under Dr. Robinson. The personal development department, which is the courses that are intended primarily for first semester freshmen, is going under Dr. Nordman in ASBS. And tutoring, which has been primarily math and sciences tutoring, is going under Shannon Covert in SEM. So any questions about that or anything from the report?
Doing PTK.
Yep.
Who's doing PTK?
PTK is going to be, it will still be Chrissy Baker.
Okay,
But it's going under Dr. Robinson.
okay.
Yeah. Questions?
I had a question. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can find it here. It was about a goal. And it was like to increase membership. It was a lot.
Was it PTK? That's the only membership organization.
Was that on page 6? There was goals, there were 4 that were increased
16,
for the HSE testing.
no, conduct at least 247 new members to our chapter next academic.
Yes,
year.
where is that?
16.
Thank you. So that's a lot.
Well, actually, every year the number of members has increased. So in terms of the pattern of increase from one year to the next, that's reasonable.
And how many are in there now?
I don't know exactly, but it would be, I would estimate it's at least 250.
Oh, okay. Right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You know, PTK is an excellent thing for outstanding students at the community college level to participate in terms of their professional resumes. So, there's a kind of core group that's very actively engaged in terms of the service projects and the scholarship, but it's a much larger group of students that are eligible that join.
I gave the welcome a few years ago, and there were probably only 10 students there.
Yeah.
So they join but don't come to the meetings.
Well, they don't go to the initiation.
Initiation, okay.
Yeah. Yes, there's a much larger group that's participates, but there's much larger group that participate at the national level in terms of membership.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
And Mary Martha, we are a 5-star chapter, which is the highest
yeah.
level.
In regards to the math lab, my children have appreciated that.
What?
My children have appreciated the math lab.
Oh, great. Well,
One of them in particular was algebra a couple of times and then the boom, boom, boom.
well, and you may have noticed that, because tutoring has been kind of split. And so there's been math tutoring and other tutoring, but all the student tutors are qualified for math. So as it moves forward, it's all being coordinated under one tutor coordinator now. So it will be even more effective.
Did they do it here in El Dorado or Andover?
It's been different with each kid.
Huh.
Sometimes it's like, come home, ask dad, and I've got to watch YouTube because it's been 30 years, I can do the problem, I just can't tell them how to do it. But yeah, it's not helpful.
Any other question? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get away
Oh,
that. So it just seems fitting, given all the hats you've worn at the college. You have been here almost 40 years and you've probably worn about 40 hats. So this is presented to you at the June 2025 Board of Trustees meeting in honor and recognition of your exceptional service to Butler Community College during your nearly 40 years. That includes serving as a celebrated role model of the college's timeless institutional values of quality, integrity, caring, and service. Look this way. Yeah, sit there.
well, thanks very much. For as much talking as I've done over the last about 40 years, I'm personally a pretty much shy person. So, in this kind of situation, I don't have a lot to say, but, Butler has meant everything to me. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Moving on to our discussion items, we only have one tonight. It's on page 22 of the board book concerning insurance renewals. Kent, you want to take the lead on that?
Sure. We joined this X organization 3 years ago. It's really been, my opinion, the godsend, the property insurance market for green bonds is kind of very hard. Again, this year, our actual renewal was premiums were less than they were last year. We were maintaining the deductible. I did send an email to Jennifer. I believe she put a copy in front of you on that. We did have an update. This was what they called an indication, and I put it in the board book. The actual number came in, it's like $65 less than this. It's 800,000 some dollars. So that's fine, and this isn't an information item because the board approved for us to join this association. If we ever want to get out of it, we have to get out of it like in February, which is a terrible time, but you know, I think hopefully they'll continue to be good to us here. The other thing that's in the information there could be on your desk or on the table in front of you. They did give us an option to increase the cybersecurity or cyber insurance. We can pull this up here. So we have $2 million of coverage, and it was a little over $30 million in premium. We can add another million for $9,000 a year, or another 3 million, go up to 5 million for 27,000 a year. I don't have the information to really make that decision. I need to consult with IT, and Christina's gone this week, and I'm sure she's gonna wanna bring in our consultant. Kevin, what's it? And, yeah, there are cybersecurity consultants. We do need to get this back finalized next week. So what I've suggested is this would be within Dr. Vietti's purchasing authority, and that I would work with IT to bring her a recommendation on whether we want to increase this coverage. So just want to inform you, and I see Shelby nodding his head. If you had any objection, obviously, we want to hear about it. But we seem to be in a place where this is the course. So that should be it for this piece of the insurance.
Any questions or comment? I mean, the risk here seems real if our professionals are telling us that the likely scope of a claim is going to be beyond our $2 million limit, then I think we ought to be it's prudent to be looking at spending a little more to have coverage that covers what might be the realistic risk. But yeah, I'd defer to those that know, that make that their business to.
Yeah, I think the TANM organization they'll have a lot of knowledge of what the liability payments or the claims have been. So I think that'll be a good guidance for us.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Kent. We'll move into our action items. The first one, Dr. Sperry. Yep. Shel, you want to take the lead on that?
I think we've already talked about Dr. Phil Sperry, and we could talk about it all day, but still wouldn't make him stay. So I won't go on more about that, but we all know the service he's provided over the years and how valuable it's been. Peggy Krause, do you want to talk about this, Peggy, or you want? Oh, okay. Well, Peggy has been our director of curriculum and catalog for way before I got here. And she has about 21 years with the college. She's doing what we call an early retirement. So she is going to be in our early retirement program. But, you know, if you didn't know Peggy, you wouldn't know Peggy, because she kind of quietly sits and really works with the faculty and the academic side to really plan and orchestrate the course catalog for the year based on scheduling. She puts together a lot of pieces. She's the master of juggling all of that information and making sure it's accurate. So she's done a fantastic job, and she'll be training Kim Jackson, who has been the executive assistant for the academic group. And I know Kim will do a great job too. So we're going to miss Peggy. And she's looking forward to spending time with her husband and traveling and doing gardening and things that whatever suits for her.
Would entertain a motion to approve
I,
retirements of Dr. Sperry and Peggy Kraus.
Mr. Chair, I move that with our deepest gratitude that we recommend that the board accepts the resignation, retirement of Dr. Phil Sperry and of Peggy Kraus.
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungard is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick,
Yes.
trustee Shearer,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
Yes.
Well, now it's official, Doctor.
Moving on to the other insurance item with ICI for our athletics insurance. Kent, anything to add beyond what's in the,
This is
Um,
not athletic.
oh, I'm sorry, did I misread?
It doesn't include.
Oh, does not include athletics. I'm sorry. Well, here, Kent, I'll let you explain.
Yeah,
so I don't
so
muck it
on
up.
page 27, we have 4 policies that are not covered under the KICS program. Workers' comp, non-medical internship, student activities, and fire science. And of course, workers' comp is the bigger ticket item of those. And here again, we were fortunate. It's like less than 1% increase. And these coverages were through ICI, and ICI and Ryan Murray have been a really good partner with the college over the years. So we're glad to be able to keep that coverage there. And I think this is a quite reasonable increase here, and we just recommend that you approve it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve for 2026 insurance premiums for workers' comp, non-medical internship, student activities, and fire science in the total amount of $129,333.
Second. Kent, quick question. Where does KICS provide then the insurance for our for the medical intern? I mean, this specifies non-medical internships. Like if we've got students that are
Yes,
on rotation somewhere, that's through KICS.
yes.
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungard is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick,
Yes.
trustee Shearer,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
Yes. Move on. The next topic is updating our lecture hall furniture. Zach, I'll turn the floor over to you.
So we've been working on this for quite a while now. So we've been working on this for quite a while now, and we're looking to replace all the lecture hall furniture. It's been 20 plus years, Ireland, right? Since we've updated anything in the lecture hall. It's very outdated. Things are starting to kind of fall apart. We have faculty kind of not wanting to use that space anymore. So we would like to have the board approve the Scott Rice bid for $47,661.07. Any questions that I could answer?
Zach, what do you do with the old chairs?
Ireland?
The auction. Normally, everything's auctioned.
You-
We do. We rent it through the local, either Sungren or somebody, and we auction it.
Yeah. Okay.
With this furniture purchase, the facilities will be replacing the carpet in there, repainting and redoing all the lighting in there too, so. But that isn't in there. That's in our budget that we already have budgeted, so,
Could this happen by August?
yes.
Well, the furniture?
Yeah.
The furniture will be, it will be will be close, but yes, but we have to order it, but yeah. But we shouldn't have any effect to classroom time. We kind of have everything situated to cover all those.
Do we install the new furniture or do they come in and do it for us?
Scott,
Huh.
right?
Scott Rice will install it for us.
You'll have the.
We'll have all the old furniture out, all the carpet will be done and everything prior to furniture.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the bid from Scott Rice for $47,661.07 to replace the outdated furniture in the lecture hall.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion, comment?
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungard is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick,
Yes.
trustee Shearer,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
No.
Passes six, or excuse me, 5-1. Move on, the next item for action is the student laptop initiative. Yep, you don't look like Christina, but you're in her chair, so.
Matt Jansen, our Director of Client Services here at the college, to talk about Butler Laptop Initiative.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to share with you some of the details about the My Butler Laptop program. It was started back in 2021, right after the COVID, and where we needed to get a lot of technology to students back then to help us out. Since then, the program has helped almost around 2,800 students with providing them a laptop that it's changed a little bit along the way where they had to pay to participate, and now where they're provided to them for free as long as they complete 24 hours of school credit. It's been something that's kind of been near and dear to me because having lived in technology my whole career, having technology for our students is really important. It ensures that they can have the tools that they need to either participate in class or at home. And so they can take that laptop with them, and we all think that, every student has a laptop, and that's not the case. And so this program has been very valuable, pardon me, to those students. One of the additional things that you'll note in there is the partnership with Ribbit Computers. We've been using them for our extended warranties. They are providing all the warranty and all the student support because my staff, we just don't have the time to take care of that many devices. So we've partnered with a local company, Ribbit Computers, and they provide an antivirus or malware protection, vulnerability management. They do system monitoring, so they're like literally monitoring the hardware of the device, and they get alerts for that, and they can reach out to the students that, hey, if you have problems, please bring it in. And then again, doing the extended warranty. So they're taking a 1-year manufacturer warranty and extending it all the way to 3 years for us. And that's been a great service. Over the past 3 years, Ribbit and their software specifically has performed over 9 million updates to those computers. They've removed over 1 million threats, including malware and what we call potentially unwanted programs. So somebody accidentally gets some CRUD on their computer, this software takes that off. So over 1 million instances of that. And they've conducted thousands of OS repairs and performance optimization. So things that really truly help our end users. I mean, we all get the pop-ups and, oh, hey, call us for help. These guys are actually doing that. So we'd really like to continue using them for that support. So
When a student's battery goes dead or the screen goes out, do they drive to Wichita to Ribbit to get it
Yes.
fixed?
yeah, there's 3 locations in Wichita, 2 locations in Wichita and 1 in Derby. So east side, west side, and then Derby location.
So you don't have anything to do with that?
No, once the student participates in the program, it's theirs and it's theirs forever. Ribbit just does the 3-year warranty. So they might, buy a battery if it's beyond the 1-year mark, or they will coordinate through Lenovo to have a replacement part sent to them.
Are any of the fees that students are charged go towards paying for this? Is that how that is funded?
I don't know the answer to that part of it. I don't know where the money that goes.
Shelby, if I can chime in for a minute, the funding sources are twofold: the Student Success Fund and the Information Services Designated Fund.
Technology fee doesn't support does it feed into the IS designated fund, or is that just part of our operating funds?
The technology helps fund the IT program in total. We actually put that money in a general fund, it doesn't.
Do you expect to give out this many computers this coming year?
We gave out approximately a little over 800 devices last year through the school year. I'm hopeful that we are able to give that amount out between what we have left and what we're purchasing now. We're trying to right size that for another year. Yeah, but over 800 students took advantage of that program last year alone.
I would just maybe personally like to see $1 per student tacked on somewhere or something just to cover that cost.
Yeah. We started that. We started with $150 at the very beginning, and we just didn't get the participation that we were hoping for.
I just mean like add it to the technology fee. Whatever miscellaneous fee that could incorporate that cost. I'm sure it's not gonna happen in this year's budget, but that's just me personally. It would be nice to have it be a benefit, but not a benefit that comes out of our operating. Thanks a lot.
What's the $4 where it says the support will cost $4 per month? Does that cost us $4 per month per laptop or cost the student $4 per month?
That's us.
Okay.
That's the 77,000 at the bottom.
Okay,
I think that's the rough number, but
okay,
500 times 4 times 12.
yes, sir. Yeah.
okay.
And we were able to negotiate that. We asked them for a discount and we received a $20,000 discount of what, I mean, they normally charge $10. Their normal customers are $10 a month. Our prior agreement was $5, and then we negotiated it down to $4.
Well, to get it started, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the purchase of the 540 Levano computers for $199,800 even, and the hardware software support from Ribbit Computers for $77,760 even, and that's for the 3-year period.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungard is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick,
Yeah.
trustee Shearer,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
Yes.
That's all. Passes 6-0. Moving on, the toolboxes. Dr. Linden, you want to share a little bit about that?
With pleasure. Toolboxes for our automotive program. Our program in automotive has been needing specialized tools for our students in order to maximize their learning experience in the lab. So this opportunity of these snap-on toolboxes from Cornell will allow students the specialized tools that they need to succeed with the curriculum and the technology that exists in the industry today. In some cases, we're expecting slightly increased enrollment, so students might have to share 2 students per toolbox perhaps, but that's the worst case scenario. Wanted to minimize the cost, but yet provide the tool that's needed for our students.
I asked for some information, or it says there's 22 declared majors for the spring of this year. So that, I mean, there's gonna be more than 22 students in automotive, but only 22 have declared majors.
Well, there was, if I'm not mistaken, trustee Smith, the 22 represented spring 2025 enrollment.
Mhm.
Right now for fall, we're at about 50% capacity, and it's trending very high. We're going to be maxed out most likely in both automotive and in diesel.
Mhm.
In both of those areas. So the trends are looking good at the moment for both of those programs for fall. So that number of 22, if I'm reading the data correctly, speaks to spring 2025 auto technology enrollment.
But 322 total credit hours.
Correct.
In
Yep.
That
Yes, sir.
combines diesel and automotive.
Yes,
Or is that-
based on today's information from
I just wondered how many students are sharing 10 toolboxes.
in automotive, we're trying to minimize it, but the worst case scenario, they might have to share an automotive.
Like just a couple students sharing one toolbox, or are you talking?
Worst, if it comes to that, but right now the intent is to minimize cost, 1 toolbox per student
but up to two perhaps will share one toolbox, fully equipped. In automotive.
Students aren't, this isn't something the students keep. This is staying.
No, this will be very closely watched. Absolutely. So it's going to be used from one term to the next. That's correct.
Snap-on tools are the most expensive in the business, and they're the best too. There's no doubt.
They're top of the line.
Um, I don't know whether I'm set to go with 10. Just because of the cost. I would love to see it increase again and again and again when we have to have another 5 or 6 toolboxes.
My understanding the funding source for this was the kind of the use it or lose it.
Did-
Did we have and this may come up again as we talk about the skid steer. Were there items that we didn't, I mean, I guess, how did we decide where these use it or lose it funds would be spent and where they wouldn't, or?
This is what,
For clarification, the state for the last 2 years has awarded each two-year college apprenticeship funds to be used to advance career and tech ed courses that lead immediately to certificates or AAS degrees. And you use the term use it or lose it, but the expectation is it's an annual award. We don't know if we'll get it for next year, but the expectation is that we will expend all of the funds awarded to us for the purpose I just described. And from my perspective, a great use of the apprenticeship funds is to improve the learning environment for students and to make it more compatible with industry so that when they walk out as an automotive technician, they already will have worked on tools that they're going to find in their place of employment. So at least from my perspective, I don't think we've just pulled things out of the air to spend money on. Peter has conferred with his faculty. Barry has been involved in the discussions, and I believe it's actually been a team effort to identify things that would have the most significant impact on students in programs that have either strong enrollment, are maxed out, or that have growth potential.
exactly correct. So this was in close consultation with our faculty, and may I add our industry advisory committee members too. So it's not, decisions and recommendations are not made in a vacuum. It's to keep our programs relevant and make sure our students are equipped to be successful in industry.
How much money is left in the apprentice fund? Or maybe I should ask you that.
About 200 and a little over 200,000.
Thank you, because I could not have answered that factually.
I saw where Mark J is going to inspect them after every class. I hope you
Yes.
do that, so they don't get stolen.
That's right. Mark has a process and a protocol already in place. So it's part of our conversations and planning for this request. So there's no doubt that Mark will follow through on that because we're very committed to making sure we have the right equipment in the right amount and that those tools that are purchased are indeed secured, and we can keep on using them term after term for our students.
Well, it sounds like we have the money from the apprentice fund,
Miss,
so we do.
okay, I'll make the motion then that the board move to approve the purchase of 10 Snap-on toolboxes for the amount of $94,027.70.
Second.
I think it's the rolling tool.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Because they're paying government,
It-
you know.
Is the norm that when maybe I'm just outdated. My perception has always been that when you get a job in a mechanic type role, you're expected to have a tool set with you when you show up. The employers don't typically provide those. Is that the world of auto tech as well?
That's my understanding that that still applies, yes.
So they're going to get tools from us, but when they graduate or get their certificate, they're
Right.
going to have to go out and find their own toolbox to bring with them.
Exactly, yes.
I think companies like Snap-on have, financing with them, and they get device to.
And they also have, yeah,
Like Tupperwares. It is.
They know how to market their product.
mhm.
Any other comment or discussion?
If we face in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, for maintenance appreciation of our tools, I'd like to see some sort of a
Mhm.
tool fee for automotive backed onto the students. And not a lot, at least I'll cover the.
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungard is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick.
Yep.
Trustee Shear.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks all. That's 6-0. You can stay up there.
Okay. Where to come?
The skid steer for construction tech.
Yes. This is going to be used by all of our students. This is a piece of equipment right now that we actually rent. So to the tune of about $10,000 per year, as it's indicated in the TFA. This piece of equipment intentionally, because it's the most versatile for meeting the needs of our curricula and the needs of our students as reflected by input by our industry advisory committee members, and also the most affordable in terms of long-term maintenance. So it'll meet the needs of the program, its students and its curricula. It's the most versatile and lowest cost in terms of maintenance. Therefore, over the long term, we'll be saving us money. And are there other questions I can answer about the skid steer?
Where did you rent those from?
I can get that vendor. I don't have the name of the vendor right now.
White Star
White Star.
Would-
usually sells Bobcats.
Couldn't we just buy one? The used one?
We looked into that and we gave it some serious thought. And the consensus with the thought was by way of our industry advisory committee members and the faculty that in the upfront, in the short term, yes, there would be an immediate relative savings, but over the long term, could cost us even more.
And what's the warranty on this?
The warranty, I can get specifics for that 3 years as standard.
What's the typical lifespan? I mean, how long do we expect this to work for us before we're looking at replacing it?
It depends on the user. If the user is a professional and handles this piece of machinery with care, which our faculty member is known for doing that, and it's maintained properly, the life expectancy on this can be anywhere from 8 to 10 years.
We
If
have
not
one
more.
for sale that we'd be more than happy to sell.
Yeah. Well, I was speaking about this item to Ireland, with Ireland just earlier, and he had mentioned that the one that we have right now for the college is how old, Ireland?
Yeah, both of our skid loaders, one from Andover and here, are both over 25 years old. So if you maintain them, we don't put a whole lot of hours on them or whatever, so it will last, I would say, 20 years.
Mhm.
Bobcat is probably the most reliable and easy to get parts and maintain. The Cat that we have and New Holland are little harder for repairs and stuff and cost more than this. So
Mhm.
Would it be kept inside at night?
it will be, yes.
White Star has a used one with 1,000 hours on it for 35.
Mhm.
currently.
We have one for 5,000, we'd be more than happy to sell.
Let me know. But me personally, we're getting one with has HVAC in the cab, radio, adjustable heated cloth air ride seats. It's like, this is kids aren't going out and working 8 hours a day on this. They're learning to drive a Bobcat briefly and then. So for me, this is too much money for a Bobcat. We honestly have one that's 20-some years old. And we have an automotive department that actually picked it up and repaired ours before, so it's not a matter. We
The
don't have people to
college did?
do maintenance. We pay for parts and.
Right.
But we had Todd Williams. I mean, because the diesel kids need stuff to work on, like, you wanna work on a Bobcat? And they picked it up. It took a while, but they were able to get it up and running.
Kyle just said 12,000,
Well,
not 5,000.
Yeah,
And he
5 is
said
good.
the price is going up.
Is he watching live? Bait and switch, bait and switch. Give you 3.
Is there a level we can go down where it doesn't have the cloth seats and it just has good old vinyl and?
Get the undercoating.
Well, this particular model is the mid-range. This is not the high end. There's one even higher than this.
What about the low range?
I think it was about 12,000 less, I believe, if I can get that figure. But here again, this one was chosen because of the versatility, the long-term cost of maintenance being minimalized, and its applicability to industry need based on input that we receive from our industry partners.
There was a part in here that says give certifications in the use of skid steer aerial
Right.
lifts or lift. Do we have a certificate for that?
That's
And
something
how many hours do they have to be on?
that's something we can look into offering with this now.
Okay. But introduction to construction. I've never, where I work, I don't get to see that nice of a bobcat generally on site. I know we do have one of the.
I'd like to see another bid for the lowest priced one.
Mhm.
I don't want to go down on the motor or anything, but just basic stuff.
I guess the question would be, is there an option to get the mid-level model, but without the bells and whistles that might not be needed for what we're using it for?
I would think that there is, but I would need to look into that and report back.
Are we under any time constraints in terms of when the funds have to be spent?
But we are July 1, up with June 30th,
Mhm.
actually, but if the board wishes, you can direct the administration to pursue the lower cost model and authorize us to acquire the lower cost model.
Do we need a brand new 0-hour bobcat? Me personally, just as a jerk, I mean, I want to know how many hours next year at this time were put on the machine for 54,000. That might be exorbitant. How much we're
Well,
using it versus.
Also know that this applies to our other initiative that's outside of our credit offerings in construction technology. We have a partnership, a collaboration with the Association of General Contractors of Kansas that, for example, this phase of that partnership teaches incumbent workers on concrete. So a lot of that concrete prep work, as well as the laying down of foundations, requires this tool. So that particular program is fortunate in that it has both credit and non-credit. Both sides of the house, so to speak, would utilize this tool, the skid loader itself. And those partnerships we're having with industry are only expected to grow all the more and not just remain idle.
Are students going to job sites and?
Well, those particular students are employees on industry or coming to our institution to upskill and reskill.
But are you doing concrete work?
Yes.
Demoing, leveling and
Yes.
pouring concrete here?
Yes, we are. Absolutely. And Ireland can attest to some of the work we've done on campus by way of that initiative.
I'm,
Sorry, Barry's got his hand up.
yeah, I was gonna say, I have the lowest bid here, it was 62.7. So it's not much of what he's proposing with the middle
Mhm.
rate. And I think the upper one was 95.6 or something like
Right.
that.
It was-
62.7?
That's more than. what
That's
you're
more
asking.
than,
No, he's just saying in here. But my point was they had, White Star currently has a used one that they did last night for 30 something with 1,000 hours on. Which is not much. I mean, that's
Mhm.
6 months worth of everyday use.
My personal feeling is that, and I understand it's new, but I also know that when you buy a tractor, you're not buying a tractor for less than $300,000 to $400,000, and you don't have a choice because it comes with cabs and things like that because of the safety features. But I'm going with that our staff has already met with the advisory boards. They've already discussed all of this. And I understand it's a new machine, but new machines just cost money. And I am like
Ireland. I think this machine will last us 20 to 25 years. I think it gives the students the opportunity to work with equipment that the industry sees, that the J.E. Dunns, the Martins, the EBs, all of those different Waldingers, whatever construction firm you want to mention, but they always in their budgets are getting new equipment here and there. And yes, do they have the old equipment? You bet. But this is something that our students can use, and it will be something that will last a long time. We could use it for multiple uses. I think once we have it, we'll find that we'll use it for a little bit of everything.
Yes. Thank you for that, especially knowing that the program itself, construction technology program, is growing at the same time.
So it currently says that the rental agreement allows you to use it for 2 months for the fall and spring. Ownership would then allow a greater amount
12
of
months.
access
12,
for the.
12-month access versus
I'm sorry,
12-month access. Yes, year-round access. That's correct.
and we're currently spending 10,000 a year approximately,
That's correct.
and the life expectancy is conservatively 8 to 10 years. We're looking at 80 to 100,000.
Exactly. And as Ireland pointed out, it could be more likely by proper maintenance exceed the 10-year mark.
So do we own 2 currently and we're renting an additional for 10 years? That,
We own 2 facilities. Andover has one. And we have one that we use several times a week. So, I mean, the construction technology doesn't use our equipment. So, and I would rather them not.
So
wouldn't you almost rather have this one and give them yours? I mean, that sounds like a better idea.
So with that, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase of the skid steer from White Star, I believe it was, in the amount of $54,200.
Second.
Trustee Good?
I'd like to have some discussion first, if we could. I still want us to go the used route, just to see what is out there on the market. We have probably about 100,000 left in the apprentice fund. And these would come out of the apprentice fund, correct?
Yes.
Then if you turn the next page, we have another line item for the apprentice. I just think, every department needs things, and I don't fault them for that, but guys, you need to look at all of the things that we're going to be looking at. We're going to run out of money.
I'm assuming that the apprenticeship fund budget will support approving all 3 of the things you're asking us to approve.
That's correct.
That's
Yes.
Okay.
And the balance, if I heard Dr. Robinson correctly, if all of these purchases were approved, there would still be a balance of
200, about 200.
200,000. Yes.
Oh, so that 200 balance was assuming
That all this
this
got.
was already
Yeah.
spent.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so prior to making the purchase, will you just ask if it comes without a comfort package?
I will,
mean,
for sure.
We've got this holistic comfort
Yep.
package. And my only input I mentioned earlier was, given that Mr. Jolly messes with his skid loader,
Yep.
I'm believing that foam-filled tires
Mhm.
are almost a must.
Okay,
So you might ask about that.
thank you.
I mean,
Definitely.
then you're, I mean,
Or get a track model.
Mhm.
yeah,
Bud
but then
filled
that
tires?
track thing. is
Foam-
another
foam
one.
fill.
Foam fill.
Not fun fill.
Filled, foam-filled tires.
So ride's a little
Otherwise,
rougher, but.
you've got
Yeah.
a flat tire. And then you're paying to fix that. And it's expensive, foam filled. But if you could ask, no comfort package and foam filled, whatever you decide on that, I'm still okay with going forward. Just try to save us money.
Would there be interest in amending the motion to approve disbursement up to 54.2 with the caveat that we would expect that if there is an option available without the comfort package, that we take advantage of that discount. But otherwise, they don't have to come back to us or schedule a special meeting before the end of the year to approve a different option. Is that palatable?
And do we have to return these funds if we don't use them?
We don't know that we're gonna get the same funding
We're
next
still
year.
using these dollars. So do we have to return those if we don't use them?
There is a question about whether they can be encumbered or not, but it is highly discouraged to encumber them.
I remember that lecture. Well.
So the question I heard to move
Okay.
forward in some manner was, are you willing to amend your motion?
Yes, I can amend it. Do you want me to restate it?
I think what we would need to do is
Or do you want me to withdraw the motion totally?
probably
Withdraw.
cleaner to just withdraw and propose a new motion.
Or you did that.
Well, are you both comfortable with just withdrawing it and then restating it?
I'm
We can go through the
comfortable with
amendment
that.
process.
I'm comfortable with that.
If you guys are just looking to take off a comfort package, you're not gonna find a law say. I'm looking more for a used model, it's 35 grand.
For what it's worth, I like the idea of getting something new. We want this to last for a long time. And you don't know what those 1,000 hours have been. And I'm sure White Star's looked at it and it's probably certified pre-owned or whatever that equivalent is in this world. But I think for how long we want to have it, I like the peace of mind of having something that's brand new and we know exactly where it's been from day one.
I think-
EAs now and you two are EAs at bypass anyway.
I think for the most part, when you're talking about skid steers, they're very well used and a lot of times they take them in on trade-ins just to make sure that they offer some sort of package to a business. So
with your
I
new
move that the board approve the purchase of a skid steer not to exceed the amount of $54,200 for, I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you're not gonna take off the comfort package? If we-
No, I'm just to not to exceed the 54,200, and then that way, if the comfort package comes off, that's their decision.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Any other discussion? Are we good?
Trustee Good,
Yes.
trustee Brungart is absent, trustee Jolly,
Yes.
trustee Rhodes,
Yes.
trustee Hueslick.
Yes.
Trustee Shearer.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
No. I had one follow-up. You said our credit hours are increasing. What we got from Dr. Vietti was 2024 was 241 in the spring. 2025 was 231 in the spring. So it's not. That's not an uptick. That's
Well,
kind of.
based on the data that I looked at earlier for spring 2024 for construction technology based on headcount, not on credit hours, we're at 27, spring 24. And then spring 25, we held steady at
27.
27. And right now we're trending to be higher this fall than we were last fall, right now, at the moment, at least, in in terms of the classes.
That's. But we don't have data for that. It's just.
Not total data, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Yes, sir.
The agricultural greenhouse on page 52 of the board book.
Yeah, two more.
Oh, is there? Oh,
Pull the fiber optic.
oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm mostly deaf. That's a very.
Well, I'll move that the board approve the purchase of the greenhouse in the amount of $73,700 because the old greenhouse looks ugly.
Yeah. Not much left of it.
No, there isn't.
My van looks like this.
I'd like to discuss it.
Okay, well, do we have a second first?
But what I would love to see is our construction department build stuff like this and get hands-on
Exactly.
experience building our own facilities. and maintaining our own facilities, getting.
And I just went out and looked at it before meeting. Is there a way that we could move it? How many acres do we own behind the building, behind the ag building?
40.
Wow. Could we move it over there by the trees so the wind doesn't attack it every time?
Yes, but it would be away from the water and power and all that stuff. It would cost us more to take it out there. And probably we're also going to have to build up in the area that if we move it too far, because it flooded through there quite a bit the other day.
Did we have an estimate for plumbing, electrical, unloading, all of that additional cost? I didn't see it here, but I didn't look.
No, but we already have electrical and water and stuff out there. That's what I'm saying. And all it is, they use a hydrant, they hook up to, hoses and stuff like that to water.
Place it on
Like in
the-
the greenhouse, we'll have to rewire it, replumb it.
Uh-huh.
Are we just gonna scrape the concrete and build new on?
Well, it isn't concrete, it's gravel base. And we'll actually take the old one off. The facilities is going to do that, and they'll install the new one on that same area. So
Just the day, I didn't think there was.
I believe there is, but I'm not positive. So
No, out there in the old. It gets torn up every year. Do they replace it every year?
no, we haven't replaced it every year.
Part of
You
the,
said they've worked on it.
No, it was all a hoop. It was all plastic, like
Yeah,
So-
part of it is just.
the
it was just
material that is
plastic.
used. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just a little rod frame.
It's a tunnel,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not necessarily the best for the Kansas wind.
Right.
Where this looks like a better secured structure.
It has a stronger frame, and the material that forms the outer shell is of a polyurethane that's stronger than just the plastic coating that's on the existing greenhouse. So both the foundation, the framing, and the coating, that encloses it are of a stronger material.
So the class that they would be taking in the greenhouse would be what? Plants and crops?
Horticulture.
Crops and science and
Crops and
agriculture.
science.
That class this year.
The enrollment in that particular class, I don't have at the moment, but I can get that, but I can give you some ag numbers though. Right now, just like I indicated with automotive and diesel, we're trending good for fall right now. Ag for spring of 2025. Spring 2024 was at 52, fall 2024, 45. And then spring slight drop to 35, but overall, interestingly enough, a lot of the classes for fall already in the ag program are already near capacity, interestingly enough.
So we have one class that they're gonna use the greenhouse for.
There's a series of classes within the crop science concentration. Crop science, the soils in particular.
When was the last time they used it, Ireland? I mean, I've never seen it used.
I'm not for sure on that, but I was under the understanding they've been using it every year for some of the plants and stuff. But okay, well, I haven't been out there, so
When the last windstorm did wreak the havoc on it that you saw out there today, it was made it a little bit challenging to do anything of value with the facility in its current state. So hence the request for this more durable facility, so we don't sustain the kind of wind damage that this current structure has experienced.
How long is the warranty for?
Believe it was a 4-year warranty, but I can confirm that for you.
And it was 110 miles per hour on the wind?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this was gonna be a short meeting.
I did.
I got Lady Panic's card. Oh, I gotta go.
You're ruining my reputation.
You all haven't been around long enough.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Still not.
We got ways to go before we get into long meeting time.
Entertainment value?
Well, anyway, I do have a motion. Hasn't been seconded, but I do have a motion.
Ireland, looks like there's a lot of lighting and cooling and heating and irrigation. I mean, this is all gonna be brand new stuff.
I see that.
I would just like to have our construction department build
Mhm.
with the $35,000 of materials.
The only thing is, you know, does it come with instructions or does
Yeah.
it does?
You buy a kit, they do. Like from Star Lumber. But
Kyle just texted me and said that the college uses the greenhouse to start all the flowers on campus. Is that still going on?
I believe in the past it has, but our grounds person that did all that left us last summer. So
That would be an added benefit if we could grow our flowers out there for the college campuses.
I like the idea of projects that the courses can do that help the college. I don't know that
Absolutely.
this seems to me to be a more immediate need than something that can be handled by let's plan a course or courses to.
what was it used this past spring with the greenhouse? Actually used if the weeds are.
Not to the best of my knowledge here again, because of the wind damage that the structure had sustained.
Saying it wasn't. used
Right.
this-
Right.
Well, and with the greenhouse, the agriculture department can contact K-State
Right.
and have different things, different varieties of wheat brought in to where then the wheat is grown there in the greenhouse, to where you find out the different varieties of wheat, the different varieties of soybeans, and you can work with different seed companies that are a part of the Kansas system and different, I mean, the opportunity to do something when you have it is greater than if you don't have it. And I know that a lot of our agriculture kids transfer to Fort Hays State and transfer to
K-State.
K-State, and they're going into agriculture podcast. They're having executive positions with all of the different companies. They're going into field and soil management, and it's just a big field. The agricultural field is a big field, and it's not just, you've also got to have equipment in order to encourage students to enroll.
That's an excellent point, Trustee Scherer, because as you'll see in our August CT update, a good part of that update report to the board is going to include all the great things that are going on within the ag program. That speaks.
But you can't work a
part of that.
cooperative with something like K-State that's an agriculture school unless you have something to be able to bring that information in.
Exactly.
So there's 40 acres out there, correct? And how are any of them used for planting crops?
no, it's all used for grazing and cattle at this time. Yes. We don't have any equipment to actually farm. So
Can you explain again, if for the apprenticeship funds that are not spent by July 1st, where do they go? Do we still have them with the hope that we'll be able to use them, but we don't know? Do we not expect to have access to them if we don't spend the money? What do we know?
I will answer that and then Ken can correct me. We have to file a report with the state for what we have expended the funds on. If there is any left over, we will keep them until the state says we want those back. So what we have been advised by Heather Morgan was to expend the funds in the year they are awarded. And so we're making an effort to follow Heather Morgan's advice.
Mary's earlier point, it looked like from spring to spring, we dropped 30% of enrollment and didn't use it at all this spring. It can't be that many credit hours that are gonna go into the greenhouse. I mean, could the money be used for the livestock and?
As I understand, the livestock is the instructors. He owns the
Right,
livestock.
he brings them in, but I mean, I don't know if we need structure for that. More.
Do you have to take the seeds class or whatever you want to call it to get your ag associates?
Yes, to my knowledge, I think so.
And there's just one class
There's more than one class.
Zach
on that team?
Yeah, Zach, Zach is kind of looking.
Believe there's several classes there.
It would definitely be nice to do.
I think there's between all the ag programs, I think there's about 7. I just used the example on the
Just like the second, kind of what Jackie said, I do think it'll be problematic for us in the long run if we don't spend this money this year.
I think given the scrutiny that the budget got last year, turning money back into the state while at the same time advocating that you should give us new money in 2026, I don't know how we can think that's going to be well received.
I appreciate the different views and the debate, but I feel compelled to say this. There was much team discussion. It has been meeting regularly. And the 4 items that have been brought forward were prioritized by the instructional team as being the purchases that would bring the greatest value to the student learning experience. So it wasn't a willy-nilly, we've got all this money, let's spend it on this or this or this or that. There was very thoughtful discussion about current needs and future opportunities. And Dave pointed out a wonderful one, working with K-State's extension program. So while you look at enrollment in its current state, with these purchases, there is opportunity to grow enrollment. And I can say this because I won't be here, but we're happy to bring you back enrollment data to see if the enrollment has grown as a result of these purchases. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And Jessica has something to say.
I do. So I pulled up where we are for fall right now. We have 91 students in all of our ag programs. So that includes agribusiness, agriculture, animal science, and farm and ranch. So that's 40 new students and 91 total.
And that's not counting the judging students, is it?
Don't believe so.
And that's a large contingent
Oh,
right there.
I'm telling you, those students come from, I had 6 kids from Ohio that were all from the same family that lived across the street from me, that it was 3 of them were from the same family, and they rented that one family rented that house for 7 years.
Yeah, our livestock judging team.
And actually the kid came back and was judging an event here in Butler County and drove back from Ohio to his farm and came back by the house to see if the house looked the same.
Wow.
And the reason why I know is because they used my John Deere tractor to mow their yard. And somebody asked me, well, why did I give him my John Deere tractor? I said, a farm kid knows how to operate a John Deere tractor.
No sports during all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have we have a motion right now without a second to approve the purchase at the requested price. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Do we have anybody else?
One
Linda,
comment.
comment?
So, we're approving the tools and this and so forth. And I just want to say, then my expectation is that we look for additional ways to use the things that we're purchasing, that we not just buy this stuff and then turn around and go to the next thing, but with the understanding that as a trustee, if we approve it, then I want to know what our efforts are to increase enrollment, et cetera, classes and so forth as a result. So that's just overall my comment for all of these things.
Thank you.
Amen.
Could I make just one other comment that I think hasn't been brought forward, but not for the voting, but just in general, because when these kids come here to go to these classes and they get to work on quality materials, quality equipment, and when they go out into the workforce and they tell their new manager or their foreman, man, I got to work on the best there is at Butler. I learned on the best equipment and the best way to do this job with really quality tools at hand. That says something about the education that these students get from us here at Butler, not hand-me-downs, not, secondhand, but they're getting to work on the best equipment possible for their education.
So thank you, Shelley. And then to your point, and I saw noddings of heads, it's not unrealistic for you to expect an enrollment report relative to the programs for which you are approving the purchases once the fall semester is up and running. And it makes great sense to me to direct the instructional division to identify new opportunities as a result of your approval of the purchases in a formal report.
That's what I'm thinking.
What she said.
We're having a mind meld.
Your thing. Like I said, I just want to know that we're going to seriously then try to get our biggest bang out of the buck for the improvements that we're making.
Right.
Fair enough.
We need that report, not just this fall, but a year from that fall and the fall. Do we still have, there for a while, we had 3D computer design, game design?
We
Is that
do.
still going?
It-
Is it well attended?
Yes, and if you look at the data booklets that Aiden Dunleavy has developed, that's great baseline data. And if you recall, although you've slept, so maybe you won't, I don't know, we gave you a report on the technical programs. So you've got that baseline data, and it's not, it's logical to expect the college to update that baseline data regularly, periodically and regularly. So you can track where the program enrollment growths are and where there are losses. Going back to the baseline data.
Speaking of which, yes, Kent a couple of times throughout the year, I just want to make sure for this software is still in next year's budget or whenever it comes up for renewal. So it just expired with no renewal?
Well, we showed that in our budget reduction. As a budget reduction, we're gonna do it in-house.
No, but my intentions were to have a new president come in with access to all nitty-gritty data. Now all the Forvis tools are no longer accessible. That's why I brought it up several times throughout the year to make sure we renewed the contract. I asked specifically for that to happen multiple times.
We told you we're not gonna renew the contract. We put that in the budget report. And it's a line item on expenditure budget for next year. We showed that we were not doing that. We showed you that in the April update. It was shown as a budget reduction.
Removing Forvis.
Yeah.
data. Is that the April meeting?
As I
In the report that we gave you for the spring update.
Physical report we received in the meeting?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if it was in the March one as well, but I know it was in the April board book, and I believe we brought the board
Yeah.
book forward again in May, but we have the data, and it was we who were inputting the data to Forvis with the skill set that Aiden has brought to the college. He has the ability to produce the reports that were produced by Forvis. And he has said that, and if you know anything about him, you know he wouldn't say something he couldn't do. So you're going to be data rich, and I say that in a positive way, Your incoming president is data-driven. And that's a great combination to have someone with a data skill set and analytical skill set with the president who is very data-driven.
I'm not trying to be irritable now, but we specifically hired a data inquisitive act on fact president.
Can I kind of,
No, just a second. I was under the assumption that she would have access to Forbes so she could dive into whatever she desired to look in. To find good questions, to find out facts. Now I'm hearing that that's no longer the case and she can ask Aiden to do an analysis of whatever she's interested in. But the data is not just there for her to look in.
No, no, we're gonna produce that information, but we're gonna produce it in-house rather than have Forbes do it.
All the, because I spent 2 days in whatever room looking at it, and it was just intuitive. You go, you know, check on rooms, you don't check on bill ratios. We had data on attendance to sporting events to meet. I was not told that we were not renewing for this after having asked for it several times. I'll go back and watch the April meeting.
Well, it's in the budget book that we gave you on the April budget book. We showed in there that we were reducing the budget for 26 by $20,000 by not renewing the Forbes PEA. That's exactly what we told you.
Not told.
Well, you were told. You were told because I went through that.
We need to move
I
back.
need to
We got a
call the
pending motion.
question
This need
on
to-
the vote.
We have a pending motion right now. This has absolutely nothing to do with the discussion on the
Right.
pending motion.
Thank you.
Let's get the motion.
Calling the question, the
Handle.
third majority.
I don't think we need to call the question.
No.
The discussion no longer relates to what's on the floor.
What is the motion?
The motion is to approve.
The greenhouse.
Oh,
Purchase of
okay.
the greenhouse as stated on the recommended action. We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any other discussion on this issue?
I have one question. The amount of 73,700, and then it said above that, an additional 8,000 is requested for site prep. Is that 8,000 included in the 73,700?
It
Or
would
are
be,
we approving?
it would be above that and be a separate. So an additional 8,000 is pardon me. The additional 8,000 is requested for the site prep, so that would be part of the 73,700.
Where are you?
The last sentence.
I'm right over here.
What page?
Page
52.
52.
So Peter, to clarify, bottom line figure 73,700 includes the site prep.
All inclusive.
The subtotal on
Yeah.
the quote was 63.2. So if we're approving 73.
73, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extra.
Plus whatever.
Because I was gonna say mine
Right.
was 73,700, what was written.
But I
here.
assume the other fees for electrical, plumbing, miscellaneous storage, unloading can all come out of the what are the apprenticeship funds as well, since it applies to that structure.
Yeah.
Those things were permitting.
Well, they're not included. Because firing up humidifiers is gonna be expensive.
Mhm.
Trustee Good.
Yes.
Trustee Brungard is absent. Trustee Jolly.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Hueslick.
Yeah.
Trustee Shearer.
Yes,
Trustee Smith.
No,
Passes 5-1.
we can apply for a hemp growing.
No.
application.
No.
For industrial hemp,
No. We don't have a factory. to
for
take
the
it to.
fibers.
We have we got an item on the action item that we added
It is
relating to the fiber optic.
fiber optic boot camp.
Saw that.
Which was incredibly successful. Participants could complete up to 4 certificates, the basic one, 3 specialist ones. We had 63 participants. We're planning
2 more with the.
2 more.
The next one's in.
Yes,
August.
yet this summer.
Mhm.
And due to staff changes, we did not get this TFA to you in time for the board book. So we are seeking your approval now since it's a touch beyond my purchasing authority. So Peter If he's not exhausted, would be happy to answer any detailed questions for you. But the bottom line is we are asking you to pay the provider for the boot camp for services in the amount of $143,100.
So I would make a motion that the board approves the request to pay, what is it, data link for services provided in the amount of 143,100.
And I'll second.
And then in comments, I'll
Yeah.
just say that I know a year ago, we were working hard, trying to build this for the first time and the fee became free. And I know that John Kressler worked really hard, but this just goes to show that something that is cutting edge that we stick with and we work towards to have, 63 students now. I had a comment from someone whose child went, a young high school age child, 17, loved it, did really well. And, I just think it's one of those future things that we need to be involved in. And we have the money from the state apprenticeship fund. And I think that's one of the purposes of those funds. That's the end for me.
Is this a free event for students?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
lunch, everything.
Right, I understand. But in the future, if we don't have apprenticeship funds to pay for it. I don't know.
Well, with that in mind, Trustee Smith, we have a marketing plan already in place to accommodate that possibility. So moving forward, we have a plan in place that incorporates the use of the apprenticeship grant funds and one that doesn't. So we could still reach out to various populations overall in accommodating the state, keeping in mind that we are only one of two institutions of post-secondary education across the state that offers this initiative.
In the future, if we had no funds, we'd have to charge $30 a pop.
We'd have to make the modification.
Or get industry support.
Right.
Have industry support, it looks like. It's just a matter of asking them to help
Yeah.
financially. support.
Yes.
Do these
That's-
people already have jobs right now? The 63 participants, did they already have jobs?
So what happened, a good number of these students were of a high school age or recently graduated from high school.
Okay,
So at the end of the event on Friday afternoon, there were 5 industry partners on hand actively recruiting these students, these completers with their literal certificates in hand, and either being placed in a position in the near term or placed in a pool for a future interview. So by way of doing that, these young people were able to exercise their networking skills at the same time.
And we have more employers in the area.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
I think Augusta's putting in fiber optics now through Idea Tech.
Yeah, they're going door to door, like a couple of words, they're everywhere.
Mhm.
I'm fiber optics.
I'm just Starlink, everything anymore, in my opinion, but.
Matter of fact, it was cheaper than Cox.
Yep.
That's not hard either.
Do we have a motion or we have a?
We have
You
a motion.
Okay.
Do I need to second it?
No,
Or
but
did I
we
second?
did.
No, you did.
We good? Trustee Good.
yes.
Trustee Brongard is absent. Trustee Jolly.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Fuselig.
Yeah.
Trustee Shear.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes,
Okay, that passes 6-0.
I would move for approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Okay. Trustee Good.
yes.
Trustee Brongard is absent. Trustee Jolly.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Fuselig.
Yes.
Trustee Shear.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Leonard, thank you. I don't see Aiden here, so KPIs are in the book, but nothing, I assume nothing a separate note.
If there are
Any-
questions, we can,
Oh, he is, okay.
are there questions with the KPI report? So
KPI report, did I?
it's in the
Page nine.
supplemental.
Page 91.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions beyond or about what was presented?
On some of the graphs and stuff, and I know it costs more to do it in color. But sometimes these, like on these graphs
Yeah.
in black and white and graystone, they're really hard to 91.
It's not the same years compared all the way through either, looking at that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of throws you off a bit.
Dr. Vieti, anything else?
No, but
Of note?
Shelby, I might not have understood your question, but some of the data is contingent upon when we get the reports back, as an example, from iPads or
Right.
other external bodies. So
Okay.
the dates may not, likely won't always perfectly align.
Right.
We need an executive
Yes.
session for 29 minutes and 45 seconds.
Optimism.
I'm not doing that.
Do we have a motion? The language for the exec session is on page 110.
Karen, go for it.
And well, it would be, so those in attendance will be the trustees, Dr. Vieti and Shelley. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to include the rest of the members of the negotiating team or not. Your call.
I would defer. You tell me.
Shelley?
I think we can give them the update without them, but if
Okay.
they want to attend, I could do something.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I move that the board recess into executive session for discussion of non-elected personnel relating to employer-employee negotiations, and that the executive session include Dr. Vieti and Shelley. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I just had Shelley written. And I would say the meeting resumed 45 minutes.
29 minutes and
29 minutes?
45 seconds.
45 seconds.
If we have to come out of it 29 and go back in, then
We won't.
we won't. Okay.
I'm going to keep you on.
Second.
All right, sounds good.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, trustee Good.
Yes.
Trustee Brongard is absent. Trustee Jolly.
Yes.
Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Trustee Hueslick.
Yep.
Trustee Shear.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Okay. As we've done before, we will update the actual time in and out once we get there, and we will reach